Hi, welcome to our first debrief of a show, which was the Billion off-road show, which we've just come back from. Very interesting weekend, great fun. A little bit of damage to Fluffy, which we'll talk about in a bit. But on the whole, Fluffy performed very well off-road, to the surprise of many people. Lots of social media that's popped up from. Fluffy was actually driven by Land Rover Monthly around the arena, and driven by Vicky, wasn't it, on the way up?
Yeah, it was an interesting drive. It was my first long distance, so to speak. I think I did, 2.5 hours of it. For years, I avoided driving it out of fear. It was very heavy. But the new power steering system by Hasty Automotive has really made a difference. I think it's powered by a RAM now.
It has made a massive difference, and it's not your normal powered steering where you would have a powered steering box or maybe an electric motor inside the cab. We decided, because of the size of the wheels and the fact we wanted to use it off-road, we wanted to remove as much stress as we possibly could from the steering, all the steering relay, the steering box, all the stuff which is Series 2. So then this RAM sits down underneath where your your steering damper would be, which is under there. And that does all the work, and it has revolutionized the actual driving of the vehicle, isn't it? Completely different.
Oh, completely different. It's like driving a normal vehicle.
And especially off-road as well. There's none of that kickback and trying to break your fingers.
Oh, yes, the off-road. What about the off-road course?
Well, the off-road course was fine. But that was the other problem with the off-road course, is we recently changed the gearbox to an R380, and that chain-driven Borg-and-Warner chain transfer box, which that was more accidental because the actual R380 box was on the floor in somebody's yard. They didn't want it, and I said, "Oh, we'll have that," and we stuck that on, and that works lovely. And so was the actual transfer box. So that was on the floor, and it wasn't until we actually fitted it we suddenly realised, hang on, that doesn't look like a standard transfer box, and then it's the viscous one, I think, from a P38. That performs very well, other than one thing. When you're off-road, remember to push the stick forward to go into low range, not repeatedly try to pull it back for half the course.
Yeah, we had a very embarrassing, first bit of water, really, wasn't it? Because somebody was pushing the transfer lever into the wrong position, and we ended up being towed out by, I think it was a 90, which was a little bit embarrassing.
Nearly a Freelander at one point, but it's so remember the red lever, push forward, low range, and after that it was great. So it did perform very well off-road.
Did. I'd like to take it back and go round on my own. Well, not on my own, obviously, but
we need to take a couple of their trees back as well, because we've knocked a few of those down. They're still on.
Yeah, there's definitely a few still floating around, but it was a good course.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's good fun. Lots of mud on the front, which has now been cleaned off, and a lot came out the radiator when we washed that out. It did that just as we started on the way back, luckily, so we didn't overheat it, and that was good. The little bit of damage, which is the damper, passenger side damper, is now not attached at the bottom, and there is a big rock there instead. So we need to remove the rock and get the steering damper done.
Yeah, but
the damper.
But Foundry have solved that issue for us today, because we've got some new bushes.
New bushes to go.
From Foundry 4x4, so they can go on in the next day or two. Well, they've got to go on tomorrow, really. This is going out tomorrow to a show.
It is actually. It goes out to another show, which is doing the public address system for, which is a military show next weekend, isn't it?
Well, tomorrow.
You've got some merch.
I do have some merch. So
it's fallen off.
Yeah, there's some behind you. So we now have some Fluffy baseball caps. They are Fluffy on a new ostrich-looking baseball cap. We have some Fluffy stickers. We've also managed to get hold of, if you can pass them to me, up in the sun, some enamel Fluffy mugs and water bottles. Now, I took this to work today. My water stayed cold the entire day. I kept having to refill it, obviously.
It smells of gin.
It's not gin. It should be Fluffy gin. Fluffy gin. That could be a start. But yeah, so all this is available from our friends at Quintessential Merchandise. So you'll find them on Instagram. You'll find us on, you find them on Facebook as well. And they also have a website. So lots of fun and exciting things.
Very competitively priced. Cubic zirconia. So we've covered that. We've done. So what else has happened, Martin?
So Martin from LRM, I think for a few years now he's been looking at Fluffy and he's really wanted to just get his hands on it, and he don't think he really ever had a chance. However, Zeb gave him that chance.
It was
And he
more forced the chance upon him, I think, rather than give him the chance.
Yeah, but
actually.
he did seem to thoroughly enjoy himself, and we did have a bit of a.
There was one moment that I thought he was going to tackle a jump on the off-road course at speed. He slammed the brakes on at the last moment, but I did have a sort of a moment that I thought he was going to go careering over one of the stumps, but he gently flopped over it, didn't he?
I think he thoroughly enjoyed it, and he liked the way it drives. He likes the handling on it, which is a surprise because it's so big. People are terrified of it, but it does handle like a normal vehicle now.
It's completely different. If I'm going from a Series 2 box and with the power steering, brakes would be nice. So that's probably the next thing, is to upgrade the brakes to probably a servo from a TD5 or something like that, to have dual line brakes. It's still single line brakes. And then potentially after that, we may change the axles. The NV axles are getting more difficult to get parts for, much more expensive than anything else. And with Fluffy now, it's a matter of a vehicle that can be used, will be used for extended periods. So breaking a half shaft and not being able to get one for maybe a 12-month while you're stuck somewhere isn't really an option.
No, there's a lot of things on there we thought we struggled to get hold of, but we're quite lucky that we've got a lot of contacts, so we can, put bits on and off as we need it. Another interesting thing, we've actually taken on tea on the tailgate Mid Wales, so we've got our first meet coming up. So that's on the 20th of July at Retro's on the Rising Sun.
Come and get a sticker.
I will link. I'll link a description below, and then it explains exactly where it is. But we're really excited. It's going to be our first meet. We were quite lucky to meet a lot of the Tea on the Tailgate guys and gals at Billing. We're going to drink in the pub. It was really nice.
They drank a lot, yes.
Not with us. I think we were the last ones still at the bar. But it was early evening, so it was fine.
There was an incident going back to the off-road course where we recently, for that trip, we bought ourselves a very new, spanky new toilet. Now, Fluffy's toilet was several owners old, and it was the plastic was cracking and crazing, and everybody said, "How on earth are you living with that toilet?"
We should have replaced it.
So we should have replaced it 5-6 years ago. But we bought a new toilet, especially for Billing, and lucky we did, because in my anger of trying to get Fluffy around the course in high range, I hit some tree stumps that we were going over, and the toilet, which was in the back, decided to make its way to the front at speed, and they exploded over some passengers which we had in the middle. So they had a combination of sort of rainbow sort of effect on them with blue and pink fluid, and all the food then comes out of the cupboard. So we ended up rooting through the food through the rest of the show, we decided pink food was good, blue food not so much. Stay away from the blue food. And it's all cleaned up. It smells quite floral.
It does smell floral, but it also contributed to a broken toe.
There was a broken toe in the back on the off-road post as well, which I take no blame for. There is, and there's been pictures sent to us of somebody's broken toe from the back. So, it's all fun, isn't it? I'm sure it'll grow back.
But all in all, it was a lovely weekend. Great weather.
Fantastic weather.
Insanely
fantastic weather.
Hot weather.
I do like it. And dusty. And I like the dust. And the one thing, I love the red dust at Billing. It makes you feel like you've been to sort of Morocco or the Sahara or something like that. You've only been to Billing, but it's, you can tell people you've been around the world really in that weekend. So I think we covered everything. We've covered a lot.
The journey back. Lots of very broken down Land Rovers.
Lots of broken down Land Rovers. There was an element of rescuing of a couple, but no, it was relatively uneventful. But in all fairness, Fluffy used to go to shows and never make it back. But she made it back. She was fine as everybody else.
She would make it back under her own steam, but it would require a lot of effort.
It was reluctant. It was reluctant to return home. But I think that's it. So we've got a couple of videos out there. We're about to do another one where we are comparing Fluffy with or without LPG, because Fluffy does have LPG that injects into the diesel, and we use it as a boost. It's currently turned off at the moment, and we haven't used it for quite a while. So the idea is we are going to do a hill climb in her and see the difference between a Perkins engine just purely on diesel and a Perkins engine with diesel with a little bit of LPG going in as well. See how the little boost is on the hill.
It is a steep hill, but it is a famous hill.
It's Hammond's Hill, isn't it?
Hammond's Hill.
It's everything on. But we and Tea on the Tailgate and cider in October, and of course LRO in September.
Yeah, and merch.
And merch. Don't forget the merch.
Don't forget the merch. Winter Central merchandise.
We shall see you next time. Oh, and one thing, if you do want a sticker, drop us a note. We've got a good few of those at the moment.
Oh,
So
I've got a few hundred floating
stick
around
a
at the
couple of
moment.
messages in comments, and if you want a sticker, we'll try and get it off to you with a second class stamp on it. And
Second class stamp.
see the price of
Right.
stamps.
£1.76.
Price of stamps. That's more than the sticker. We'll see you next time.
Bye.